Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our first virtual full moon magical market here at Moon, Serpent, and Bone. This evening we have some really fantastic speakers like Lilith Dorsey, Mama Sarah, Lauren Haimelin Carter, Jonah Emerson Bell, Scorpio and Gemini, and myself from Amy Wilson from Otherworldly Waxes. So this is our first full moon magical market. We initially were going to have the market back in April, but given everything that's been going on, obviously that has been canceled, so we decided to move it online. This is our first venture in doing an online market, so I'm really appreciative that you have joined us this evening. We have some fantastic psychic readers that you can get a reading this evening from 6 p.m. till midnight. So please go to their pages. You'll see the links on the side of this web page where this video is. And then we also have some really wonderful magical vendors. Anything from wands to herbals to candles to all sorts of magical goodness. So I suggest you shop those vendors as well. We also have a Moon, Serpent, and Bone gift shop that you can visit online as well. We are selling merchandise to help raise funds to keep our markets going, and hopefully we'll be able to rejoin everyone in person in 2021. I apologize. I know a lot of people have been wanting to attend the night markets, and it's just been completely terrible. I really miss all the vendors. I really miss all the people. I really miss all that energy. And so I'm hoping that we will be able to join together in person soon. But meanwhile, we're online. We are always looking for new, awesome, weird, magical, occulty, bizarro stuff. So please feel free to submit any application to open markets that we may have. Please follow us on social media, Moon, Serpent, and Bone. We are on Facebook and we are on Instagram. I haven't moved to other platforms yet. I'm learning a lot of new things doing virtual markets, a lot of new things. So I ask for patience in that way, but we are definitely on social media at Moon, Serpent, and Bone, Facebook and Instagram. Soon we will be starting a mail list as well on our website, moonserpentandbone.com. I've just been very kind of slow getting there, but we will get there. I'm trying to think of any other things that I want to announce, but I'm really grateful for all of the speakers, the readers, and the vendors this evening, and the vendors who have been really holding out since the Ostara market was canceled back in March 2020. They're just really phenomenal people. They're small businesses. Just being able to support them in any capacity to help get their businesses out there has been truly a blessing, and I feel very grateful for that. And they've just been really remarkable folks. So please, if you can in any way, support them, even if it's just sharing links to their products that they make. If you can't afford to buy them, just getting them that exposure, I would, and I'm sure they would greatly appreciate it. So just stay tuned. We have some great magical commercials from some of our vendors talking about what they do, and then our speakers have just put together some really fantastic presentations. So I encourage you to participate, to watch them and support them, and subscribe to their social media as well. I put links on our vendor pages, our psychic reader pages, and as well as our speaker pages. So please follow them, support them. They're really amazing individuals. I really feel honored to be able to work with them during this market. And enjoy. I will stop my rambling. And I just want you to have a great time. Feel free to drop me an email with any questions or suggestions that you may have to help me to create these markets bigger and better and more beautiful than they already are. So my direct email is moonserpentandbone@gmail.com. Just drop me an email, let me know what's up, suggestions, speakers, if you're even interested in speaking at one of the events. Like I said, the Full Moon Magical Market will happen virtually every month until we can meet in person. 4 times a year we have our Oddities and Curiosities Night Market. The next one is Samhain, so that would be October 30th online. Unfortunately, we had to cancel the in-person date because the regulations for New York right now are really difficult to follow, especially when we bring in thousands of people to visit the market. So that would just be a logistics nightmare, and I'm sorry I don't have the mental capacity to handle that. So please, please, please stay in contact, follow us on social media. I try to keep everything up to date as much as I can, so I really appreciate everyone's help, everyone's support. Have a great evening. Enjoy the presentations. And again, thank you. And as always, live deliciously.
Hello out there, I am Jonah Emerson Bell of Camp Wizard Camp, and I want to talk to you today about the tarot. I want to talk about the tarot as a tool for magic, and less about the tarot as a tool for divination. I think we can all agree that it works excellently as a tool of divination, but I think one of the things that gets overlooked is that the tarot is actually, well, can function as a magical system, and within these 78 cards, there are all the tools for manifestation and visualization that one would need. Also, what's really nice about this is that it is lightweight, it is very portable, and is pretty undercover as a way of creating magic for the witch on the go. What I would like to focus on is just one specific aspect of the tarot as a tool for manifesting your magic, and that aspect that I want to look in on is the aces. That's right, the aces. In a system of magic, these cards are incredibly powerful. Why? Why, you ask? Because they correlate with the directions and with the elements. With these 4 cards, we can create a ritual space. We can create a magical space. We can create a space for intention and manifestation just by aligning our energy and our idea with the directions, with the elements. We have wands connected with the south and with the element of fire. But we have, coins connected with the earth, connected with the north. We have swords connected with the east and the element of air. And last but certainly not least, we have cups that is connected with the west and the element of water. And so you can, when you need to, or if you want to, you can lay these out correlating with the directions and use them as a way of calling the directions, calling the corners, and creating a ritual space. Here's a very basic example of doing that.
Hail to the guardians of the watchtowers of the east, the powers of air and invention. Hear me!
I've just laid out all of the elementals and the corners using these playing cards, basically. And then through calling them in and activating this space, I'm able to perform magic or charge objects. What's up? And we're able to use this space as a way of creating a portal or a tool of manifestation. And we can also use the rest of the deck as a way of accessing whatever it is that we're trying to call into being. For example, if we're doing a spell for boundaries, perhaps we want to use the Two of Swords or the Queen of Swords. This can be laid out in this way, with the Two of Swords in sort of the focal point or the center position as we're trying to call that into being.
invoke thee! We invoke thee!
We can also think about the aces and the elementals as creating, a space for us, right? That's creating a magical space, not only to sort of manifest our will through the images of the tarot, but also creating a space that holds us as the individual, as the practitioner. You can put these cards around your reading space, around your home, around your practice space, around your car, wherever, right, as sort of talismans and ways of connecting with the elements and ways of connecting with the directions.
Hail to the guardians of the watchtowers of the north by the powers of Mother and Earth.
Another thing that we can do is, while we have these corners called, right, as long as we have this space open, we can actually take the place and enact the image in this card and see how it feels to be in that position. Back up, back away from me. Nope, further back. Hey, back up. Right, by creating like a ritual space, an altar space, we're able to kind of focus that energy in a new way and activate it in ways that become really exciting and invigorating for the archetypes that we're working with. Another way of thinking about the aces is that they become our ritual tools. They become ways of actually enacting the magic. It becomes a wand. Kazam! Or a sword. And I think it's interesting to think about it in these ways, because we don't need these like big elaborate tools to be able to enact our magic, right? That's all sort of moving through us, in my opinion, right? And it's about connecting with the larger forces at play in the universe and aligning our will with them and directing that, channeling it through, much like the Magician card in the tarot. And so we can use, these cards as a vessel to carry the magic into the world, as a way of carrying our desires and enacting what it is and creating like a real manifestation of what we are trying to bring into being.
You have chosen wisely.
And I think that's really fascinating, that all of this can just be contained in here, right? In these cards, in something that fits easily in a backpack or a purse, and you don't need like a whole bunch of elaborate stuff. And don't get me wrong, I really like the elaborate magical objects, but it also, when you think about it all just getting like shrunk down into and compressed into like a complete magical system. And so, if we need to cut ties, right? If we need to create space, we can use the sword, and just holding this, visualizing it, pulling it, honoring it, putting it on your altar, carrying it around with you, carrying it in your pocket. Also, can think about holding it in this way as like a way of creating boundaries and mimicking that card, right? Being like, nope, over there, like, you over there, discernment, right? And like using these as sort of like talismanic power objects to be able to, enact what it is that you are looking to work with, and through channeling what it is that we're calling in through the images. Because in my humble opinion, that's a lot of what a magical practice is using the images and archetypes that exist, right, that have correlations and correspondences, and by using those correspondences, we are creating a channel through which the magic moves through us, through the world, through us, through this system of correlations into the desired goal. Bam. Another way of using the aces is through visualization, through just holding this idea, the idea of the pentacles, the idea of the materiality, the idea of the earth, the idea of grounding in your mind. And by imagining yourself in this card being handed this pentacle, right? Using this as a focus of meditation, as a focus of visualization. For example, say you get an astrology chart read and it turns out that you have no earth in your chart whatsoever. It might be a good idea to start introducing some earth into your chart, right? So you can hold this card. You can hold this card in your mind. You can get a deck and just carry this card around in your pocket or in your shoe to remind you to stay grounded, stay connected to the earth. Perhaps you are trying to get a new job, right, or a new apartment. These are things that are connected with the realm of pentacles. These are 3D reality things. These are earth things. These are health and wealth things. Being able to just connect with this on a regular basis, whether it's like pinning it in your house someplace, carrying it in your pocket, putting it in your shoe. Perhaps you have a creative project that you're working on or want to get started on. Being able to keep this with you and visualize it, right? And visualize how you are enacting this. Again, also, like, maybe you have no fire in your chart. Maybe you've gone through an illness and you are feeling like out of energy. Being able to connect with this and imagine like kindling a fire, visualizing like this cloud hand bringing you sticks as you are kindling this internal fire. Being able to keep this in a prominent position as you are enacting whatever pathway you are working on at that point in time. Also, they have correlations to the body, and which is another way to meditate with them or visualize them or to just work with them on a very like visceral and physical level. And I actually really like this practice. I learned it from Yav Ben Dov, who is a tarologist. I got to see him lecture. I think he's since passed away, but he was a quantum physicist and tarologist who I got to see lecture several years ago, and it was fascinating. And one of his ideas was thinking about correlations between the aces and parts of the body. So he connected the pentacles with the feet, and the wands with the belly or the groin area, the cups with the heart, and the swords with the head or the third eye. And he recommended a practice of laying there with the cards on those centers, with the cards on those energetic centers in the body, and just meditating on them and connecting with what you felt, noticing that, calling that energy into those specific places. And by practicing that, we can kind of do a body scan and see if there's places where we're feeling blocked, where we need a little more energy, and taking the time to like really connect in with the elemental systems in our body and the ways that those are functioning, and having these kind of visual representations through the aces in a way that's very portable and very easy to use, and connecting with what's happening in the body, how the energy of the body is functioning, and how it can be used. Another thing to think about, just in terms of, I guess, bringing this back to a reading, right, in the reading space, right? And one way that these can function, again, is by creating the energetic space around where you're reading, using these cards to hold down the corners and hold down the directions. When I saw Yav Ben Dov talk, he was like, I don't even read with these. These are not in my deck. When I'm reading, I use them in my reading space as like talismans and wards. I was like, what? However, one way these can also be used in a reading is when the reading is done and you're like, okay, what can we offer up as solutions or ways of working to create change through the information that's come up? And you can just pull one of these 4 cards and be like, okay, wands, light candles, right? Light a candle. You can also do this by noticing how many wands come up. If there's like abundance of wands in the reading, like, okay, element of fire, burn something, light a candle. If swords come up, right, like writing is a really good option. Also, if it's something that needs to be released, writing it and ripping it up and giving it to the wind. Also singing and offering things to the air. Another, right? Spiritual baths, cleansing, washing, drinking tons of water, which I think is a very underrated magical practice. Drinking water, drinking tea, even setting intention into a thing that you're drinking. And if we were to pull this for you, right, altar work or burying something in the ground, charging an object, this stone right here, and charging it up with whatever that intention, whatever that thing that needs to be released, whatever that offering is, making it an offering, digging a hole, putting it in the earth. Right? This is a great way also of practicing magic with these. And you can do this, like you can hold this card with you while you're making that offering, right? You can you can use this to charge up whatever object you are using. And this is another thing to remember that I want to impart on you. The more that these get used, right, the more that all of these get used, the more that this whole deck gets used, the more sort of intention, the more energy, the more magic that gets put into it. And if you are carrying these around with you all of the time, and if you are using these to create magical spaces and to do magical interventions, then these are becoming imbued with that magical energy. Every time that you tune into the universe using these, they hold a little residue. And these carry that magical charge, and they become more and more powerful, to the point where maybe you've used them to call to sort of like create a magical space, to create your magical zone for 5 minutes a day, for 365 days, right? Just 5 minutes, laying these out in the cardinal directions, standing in the middle, and tuning into the universe. Easy, right? Doing that every day, and just tuning in and creating that space, these pick up that magical residue, and these take on that sort of magical energy. I almost think about this as like the phone number to the universe, right? This is like a text code to the universe where you're like, okay, cool, I'm here, I'm tuning in, I'm listening.
Ring.
Yip, 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 yip.
If we look at the magician, hey, all those elements are right there on the table, right? Like this is what we're doing, right? This is magic, These elements don't need to be in 3D, they can be in these representations, right? It's just about tuning into that. It's about standing there and, calling that in and being like, these are the tools that I have to work with, and this is the space that I'm creating, and now I'm channeling my magic through whichever one that I choose. Also like first card of the tarot. Besides the Fool, right? Fool is a 0. That kind of goes anywhere. We can think about this as the first card, the Alpha, and we can think about the World as the Omega. And in the corners, right, we have correlations, right? We have the Bull, which is correlated to the coins or to Earth. We have the Lion, which is correlated to wands and fire. We have the Angel, or the Human, which is correlated to cups and emotion. And we have the Eagle that is correlated to swords. They are also connected to Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. We also see them in the Rider-Waite appearing around the Wheel of Fortune, right? Holding down the corners in the middle card, in the last card, and in the first card, right? This is a way of using these. This is a way of like creating that space, and literally creating a portal that the World Dancer is, hanging out in, right? And through setting these in the corners of our intention, we are able to like create this portal where we connect with this divine vision of the self, or the world, or the universe, right? Also, like, as we are like moving through, like turning the wheel, which is a magical act, right? Choosing like, this is what I want to bring up, this is what I want to call into the world, this is what I want to release, by setting these corners, by creating this space, by being intentional. And that's really what it breaks down to, is this is a way of being intentional and being like, yo, universe, I am here and I mean business, and this is what I am trying to enact.
Yep.
So, with that, my friends, I think I will leave you. I hope that this was helpful and informative. If you want to find me, you can do so on Instagram. I am Blind Stallion Space Wizard, underscores in between the words. You can also find me on my website, www.campwizardcamp. I am available for tarot readings. I am available for astrology readings. Yeah, you can either DM me on Instagram or book through my website. Also, I have a Patreon where I have a lot of really cool content. I got a weekly Astro Radio Weather show. Astro Weather Radio show, thank you. And you can find me on Patreon at www.patreon.com/campwizardcamp. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, bunch of great content up there that's sort of like this. And all of it is available for less than the price of a sandwich, and some of it is available for less than the price of a cup of coffee. So I don't know, check me out there. I also got a astrology podcast called The Stallion and the Hare with a fantastic astrologer by the name of Amalia Scott. That comes out twice a month, so you can find that wherever you get your podcasts at. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you. I hope that this was helpful. And yeah, take care of yourselves, and may the force be with you. Bye.
Welcome to the Divine Key, where spiritual wisdom is unlocked and explored. We invite you in to see and experience all of our wonderful products and services. Thank you for visiting.
What's up, witches, and welcome to Witch Space. I'm Gemini.
And I'm Scorpio. And if you don't know who we are Witch Space Podcast. Two academic witches by nature. We discuss older texts, we discuss modern practice, and anything else that the modern witch might want to talk about.
It comes out on the new and full moons, and you can also catch us on Instagram at Witch Space Co.
You can find us on Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, and basically anywhere you can find your podcasts.
So a little bit about us. I'm a Hellenic neo-pagan and a secular witch.
I was raised espiritista, but was also influenced by family members who are santero and practice Caribbean folk magic. I am an eclectic Wiccan, which basically means I have studied Wicca. I was very drawn to the nature aspect, working with nature and the elements. But there's no way that I'm losing my past. So I've incorporated everything to make a fuller practice.
I think we got everything about us, but if you want more detail, we go in depth in our podcast.
Well, the first thing we want to do is to thank Amy for this opportunity. We have come to the actual markets. So to be able to be part of the virtual one is very exciting.
Today, we're going to tell you some methods we use for new magical items that we bring into our practice, like tools or art or anything you might be able to buy from the vendors at tonight's market.
That's not to say there's anything wrong with the vendors, but whenever you buy something, whether it's for your home or to use in your practice, you should cleanse it to give it your energy because it's yours now. So we're going to take a moment and we're each going to give you a method that works for us. So you can use one, the other, mix them, or come up with something on your own. But hopefully it'll give you an idea of what you could do to cleanse any object you bring into your house.
So today I am going to be cleansing this bird's head pendulum. Now what I like to do is that I like to call on the elements. So I use salt to represent earth, the candle to represent fire, I like to use my moon water to represent water and incense to represent air. Now, I like to use this incense from otherworldly waxes and whatever, the self-igniting incense. This is the everything incense, which is great for cleansing. Now, if I was going to use an object for a specific purpose, such as protection or healing, then I would use one of those incenses. But for general cleaning, the everything incense is really good. So, the first thing I would do is that I would light it. Now, I scooped out about half a teaspoon of the incense, and I do not use these measuring spoons for anything other than my practice. Then as that burns, I would say a few words. You could say anything you like. For example, I ask the elements that I revere to enrich this object I hold dear with energy both wise and strong, and with it I can do no wrong. Then I go around and I ask the elements to bless it. So I could say, element of earth, give me your blessing. Element of fire, please give me your blessing. Element of air, please give me your blessing. An element of water, please give me your blessing. So mote it be. Now you notice I did not use a lot of water. You don't have to drench it. It was in my hand and on the object. And just like that, it's cleansed.
Two ways that I like to cleanse are very lazy witch chic. I know this sounds simple, but these two methods can be very useful if you really want to make sure that the object picks up your energy signature. When I get a new object, one of my favorite methods is leave it alone and forget it. In reality, I'll take a new object, like this resin art, and place it on my altar with an object I've had for a really long time. Bonus points if it's a candle, because you can then incorporate elemental cleansing. By putting these two objects together, it allows my object with my energy signature to pass that over to the new object. You also get a very clear signal as to when the object is ready whenever you have this desire to pick it up or move it. You can also energy lock an object, and this is great if you really want to supercharge your personal energy into an object. I usually use my hair. I will just rip a piece out and tie it around the object. This prevents the object from escaping your energy signature and slowly imbues the object with your energy. When the hair falls off, you know that it's ready.
So we hope that what we showed you is going to be useful to you in your practice. And if it is, give us a listen on the podcast.
Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at witchspaceco or via email at witchspaceco@gmail.com.
And lastly, just want to thank Amy one more time for this great opportunity. And thanks to all of you who listen to us.
And remember, if you're following the moons,
you're following us.
I'm Brandon Connors. As a medium, I've been blessedly gifted with the ability to convey messages from spirit to those amongst the living. I love what I do for so many reasons. But first, foremost, and oftentimes overwhelmingly, profoundly joyous, is the true, genuine healing that's involved, where messages that have been so long to be heard can finally be delivered. I look forward to seeing you soon and helping you connect with those loved ones you lost along the way.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us at the Full Moon Magical Market. I hope you all enjoy all of the presentations and all of the people who are going to be supplying you with information and all sorts of fun stuff for this event. So my name is Mama Sarah. I am the sole proprietor and owner of Conjured Cardea, and I thought I would do a video on the basic use of hoodoo or conjure oils, also known as condition oils. The reason I'm going to do the video on this is because that's sort of what I'm known for. I have over 500 oils available on my website, and I make over 1,000 recipes. I also do custom oils for people who want them for specific spirits or deities, or sabbats, celebrations, even loved ones who have passed over. So I thought I would go over a bit of the basics and sort of how-tos. So I'm always surprised when people will purchase some conjure oils from me, and then they'll send me an email and they'll say, I have no idea what to do with these. So it's always surprising to me because conjure oils were one of the first things that I ever learned how to work with, and they were one of the first I would say magical items that I didn't find in nature. So a man-made item that I was really drawn to. I was so drawn to the little magical bottles and filled with curios and herbs, and it's just something I had a love with right from the beginning. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, I think people often buy oils just sort of out of curiosity or maybe on a whim, and they're not really sure what they're going to use them for. So the best thing to do is really have a plan intact. Decide whatever goal you want to work on. You can easily research spell work for that or ritual for it by researching that online or with books. I have an entire recommended reading list on my website if you're looking for basic to advanced books, beginner to advanced books, and they will help you sort of get your feet wet with finding some spells that you would like to try, and then finding the proper oil that corresponds with that type of working. So people always ask what they can do with the oils and if they're skin safe. So the first thing, that's one of the really basic things that I like to go over. All of my oils are absolutely skin safe and actually really good for your hair and your nails and your skin, unless it is otherwise noted in the listing. So it will say in the listing, please do not apply this to your skin, wash your hands after using, etc. These are oils that contain camphor, cayenne, really harsh, caustic essential oils and ingredients that would be irritating to your skin and your mucous membranes. Now, those are very few oils that I sell. That would be like Doom oil, my hot foot oil, things like that. So most oils, a great place to start with them is applying them right when you get out of the shower or after you do your skincare routine in the morning or at night, and applying them to your body. So the idea with an oil is to sort of work it into your everyday routine to where it becomes, the magic becomes part of your everyday magic and your everyday routine. So the more you can work it in, the better. Don't save them for a special occasion. I know so many people who purchase oils and they'll contact me like 2 years later and they're like, is this oil still good? No, it's not. Unfortunately, oils have a shelf life because they are made out of all natural ingredients. So they should be used within, I would say, 6 months to a year. I'm going to lean more heavily towards the 6-month mark though. After that point, your herbs are going to start to break down, and essential oils are very delicate, and that's what I comprise my oils from. And they start to break down and evaporate as well. So try adding them to your skin moisturizer, to your shampoo, to your conditioner, to your body wash, to your body lotion. That's a wonderful way to start or end your day with the magic and intent that you are wanting to focus on and bring and create in your life at that time. So start using them in your everyday routine. Maybe start researching a spell. And when I say researching a spell to do, I mean something that would be, something that would be really broad-based, not like, something really like specific or targeting anyone in general. Do something for like self-love or abundance or prosperity or something like that. Something for the health of your family, the protection of your family, the protection of your household. So once we get to adding a few drops into your normal skincare routine, your normal bath routine, you can also add them directly to your bath as a bath oil. The next best thing to do, most people do candle work. That's sort of like the basic spell caster's everyday tool, and it is definitely something I practice a lot of. So I'm going to show you how I inscribe my candles and then how I dress them and charge them. So I have a handy tool here that's called a burin. It is handmade by a store called Arts and Crafts here in my state. And this is what I use to inscribe on my candles. So as you can see, it's got a very sharp tip. You can use a sharp pencil, a sharp pen, a sharp nail. There are many things that you could use, okay? So I like to inscribe mine this way because I like to write out my intentions in full sentences. I'm not like an individual word person. I like to write it very free-flowing, just as I would if I was speaking it, as if it were an incantation or something very rhythmic, almost like a song okay? So I just sort of let my automatic writing take over and say my goal how I would say it from my heart. This is a place where a lot of people get hung up because they want a pre-written spell. And people are always asking me for what spell do you recommend for this and what spell do you recommend for that? Well, I don't use any pre-written spells because I write all of my own spells because I use my own words, because I use my own intention from my own heart. So I'm sure that it's something that people get very annoyed with me about, but I really don't use pre-written spells. I find that my words are much more powerful and I can state my goals much more clearly than if I was to look up a spell about a certain subject and read somebody else's words placed to that goal. So I would inscribe lengthways here, right to left, what my goals are, writing my sentence. This particular candle is for like protection and evil eye work. So, you know, right now I think it's really important to always say at the beginning of all of your spell work that you are protected, that your household is protected, that your family and community are protected, that there is healing taking place, that everyone is safe, and that anyone who needs any type of help or recovery or repair or renewal or rejuvenation, that is happening and being imbued in them and they are being restored. So I would inscribe my candle and I would write these sentences all the way down, all the way around this entire thing until it's covered, okay? So I was looking to see if maybe I had an example done here to show you, but just sort of, you know, you can see once I start inscribing on this, you know, it's going to start looking like this and this entire candle would be covered. So your next step is going to be, there are two ways. If you have a Novena candle, which are the glass encased kind back here, you can simply take your oil. Let me get the correct one here. I have a few to choose from. Let's go with All Saints oil. That's a good all-purpose evoking oil. So if you have a Novena candle, you can easily take your burin and poke holes down on the top of it, or your sharp object, whatever that may be. Poke holes down on the top of it. And you can simply drop the oil, just like that, right into the Novena candle, okay, to dress it, because you probably don't want to rub it all over the outside of the glass. You can, but most people probably won't do that. So what I like to do is get a good amount in my palm. I rub my hands together to raise energy. This is a very common technique and common exercise to raise energy. You'll sort of feel vibrations like static electricity. Focus on your goal like you're almost like you're rubbing two sticks together to make a fire for that goal, right? So you're creating that electricity going, and then you can dress your candle by holding it, pressing the oil into it, top and bottom, all around, and you should be feeling some definite energy moving right now, some almost like static electricity, almost like pin pricks. Okay, so you're going to dress to your candle, and then I like to use my physical body, and my hands especially are a great conduit to sort of download the images I have in my mind that I want to achieve for that spell, that goal, and just sort of flip through those almost like I want to say like an old projector film, you know, that's like going and you're seeing the flashing of the images, and then you're wanting to download that into your candle. Okay, so like you're projecting those images in there. So it's like you're stacking up these images of your how you're going to build that goal. That's a very important part. How you're going to build the goal, not just seeing it, because we want to put into this candle and to our spirit guides around us that we are ready and willing to do the work, that we need the plan downloaded into us, right? So we can see maybe some small steps that we need to take. And maybe we need the rest of those steps to be is something that we need help with. But you need to, you will know the first few things you need to do to accomplish your goal. If it's, you know, if it's trying to balance your finances, then you need to cut back on some spending in some areas, right? If it's balancing your relationship, you know, that maybe you need to, maybe there needs to be more give and take. Maybe you need to be more understanding, more patient, okay? So you know the first few things you need to do. And those are the steps that you want to download into this candle imagery wise, right? The rest of it will fall into place. That's part of where the magic comes in. That's part of where doing this every day or weekly comes in, okay? The steps will start to unfold in front of you naturally. So that's how I charge my candle. And when I light this candle, I make very, very clear that when I light this candle, that I am illuminating the way for my goals to find me. That once that candle is lit, that is the beacon that I am sending out. It's like a lighthouse, right? At the end of the pier that you are sending out. I am here. I am ready for help. I am ready to take these steps. I am illuminating the path for these successes and goals to find me. So make very, very clear when you light that. Lighting candles for intentions and goals is as old as time. I think people have been doing this since they probably first lit, you know, made the first candle or lit the first Mullen torch, that they have been doing this. I think it's just, it is symbolism that is just has been around since people have known that the light stands for achieving a goal and processing something, and in illumination and gaining wisdom and divine energy and seeking, you know, plans from our divine sources and spirits. So that is how I charge my candles. I light them, whether I let it burn all at once or throughout the week, depends on the candle. I sell loaded and dressed candles on my website. Those you want to burn all at once because they're going to go up in a big working flame. It's designed to be an immediate big offering, okay? A candle like this, I would burn this each day, probably at least an hour. Pay attention to it, at least an hour each day. And it would probably last me, you know, probably a couple of weeks doing that. I have a tendency to go more than an hour, so it would probably be more like three or so. So, okay, so that is just sort of a quick little exercise as to how I do that. There are a few more things we can do with oils. I'm just glancing at my list to make sure I don't forget anything for you guys. So a big thing that people love to do with oils is anointing mojo bags, charms, crystals, things like that. So the only thing I'm going to tell you to be careful of here is dressing like statues and jewelry. You can eventually ruin a statue and certain jewelry. If it's natural, like these are alligator teeth, I wouldn't want to apply oil to these. It's going to start to change them over time. And certain costume jewelry it will affect, okay? So most costume jewelry, the oils will affect. Even your own skin oil will affect costume jewelry. That's sort of why it starts to tarnish and the colors wear away and things like that. So applying it to your statues, it can cause them to get kind of a residue and get gummy over time. I'm not going to say that I never dress my statues, because I do. I dress my hands just like I do with my candle, and I simply press it onto specific areas of the body of the statue, okay? I also keep up on dusting them weekly, so I make sure that that dust is removed from any film of oil that may be there, and sort of wipe off that residue of oil each time I cleanse them. So with my mojo bag, I do very similar to how I charged my candle. I apply it to my hands. You never pour the oil into the bag. I think there's a misconception out there that that's how you do this, and that's going to cause you to have a big oozing greasy bag of oil. So you just want to lightly dress your hands, press it, hold it, visualize, charge it with your energy. Do the same. You can do the same hand rubbing exercise to draw down energy and imbue your item. And it could be a crystal, it could be your mojo bag, it could be a gree bag, it could be a nation sack. It could be whatever. It could be any charm that you hold dear to you. So that is another easy way to dress and feed your mojo bags. So when we say feed, we want to do this weekly because we want to imbue it with our energy weekly. Your mojo bag will die if you don't pay attention to it. If you simply make it and you set it aside and you don't look at it for a month or 6 months or a year, you have to have some reciprocity with your mojo bag. You need to treat it as a living being, because that is what we believe this is in root work. This is a housing for the ashe that is contained by the curios inside. This is often sometimes believed to have spirits blessing it or spirits attached to it. So if you're not paying attention to it and not feeding it, those, it's sort of like when you stop remembering somebody, and it's like, think of what a sad thing that is to stop remembering somebody and stop talking about them, stop paying attention to them, stop telling stories about them. It's similar to that, right? There's not a real person there. You don't see them anymore, but the energy is still there and you want to pay attention to it and you want to give honor to it, right? Because that's what mojuba means. A mojo means to give praise. So this is an item we would use as an offering to sort of be a beacon to attract our goals to us in honor and praise. We make these, okay? So the next couple of quick tips is a fun one. I have a fun oil here for this. I can't really demonstrate it for you. This is my St. Louis #1. So this is great for communing with ancestors and divination. So a good thing to do with oils that I think a lot of people miss out on is oil scrying. So you can get a shallow bowl of water and you simply unscrew the lid, drop a pattern of oil in there, perhaps ask your question or maybe evoke a spirit that you would like help from. Maybe it's an ancestor that you're seeking some guidance from. And then simply center yourself, focus your energy, and gaze into the water and read these symbols in the water. Now, a great guide for this is something like looking up a palmistry guide, or I'm sorry, not a palmistry guide, a tea leaf reading guide, okay? So they'll give you sort of pictorial representations of what the symbols are going to mean, okay? So you'll see a picture of, a bird or maybe an arrow or an anchor or a sun, and a tea leaf reading guide will help you distinguish what each of those symbols means and how to apply it to your question, or maybe, apply it to if you were just looking for sort of divining the future a little bit, just to sort of see what comes up for you. So that's a great one that people really miss out with my oils. So definitely try the oil scrying, okay? And the last little tip is I'm a big incense maker. That's like one of my specialties is making incense. So I use all natural resin blends that you burn on charcoal. I'm really old school style that way. So that's the way incense has been burned for tens of thousands of years, maybe longer. And there are instructional guides online if you are not familiar with how to use charcoal, incense charcoal, okay? So one of the great things you can do with your oils is add them to your loose incense blends, your resin incense blends, or drop them directly onto the charcoal themselves to release them in sort of an incense and smoke form. So that's another fun way that people really miss out on using my oils. So really, the possibilities are endless. It is however you can think of to work them into your life. Sometimes I put them in with my dish soap when I'm washing my dishes. I put them in with my mop water when I'm going to mop my house. There is just there's a million and one uses. Just don't let them sit on the shelf. They work when you use them, right? They aren't magic pills. They're not going to do anything just sitting there by themselves. It is a tool that has to be utilized. So make sure you're taking the time to really learn the benefits of these little beauties, because it is a versatile tool and you can apply it to so many different applications in your spirituality. And I think it's really going to boost your workings and your focus and your intent. So I hope that's helped you guys a little bit with what conjure oils are and how to use them. And I thank you all for joining this event. Thanks so much for watching, stopping by the website. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as well under Conjured Cardea. And I hope you are all well, safe, blessed, and peace be with you all. Bye.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lilith Dorsey, and I'm so happy to take part in tonight's full moon magical market. I do a lot of things. I'm an author, most recently of Orisha's Goddesses and Voodoo Queens, and a couple of other books, Voodoo and Afro-Caribbean Paganism, and Love Magic. And I also have another book coming out soon called Water Magic that everybody can pre-order now. But I've been a voodoo priestess for a long time. I've been an anthropologist. That's what I went to school for. I am also a filmmaker. I went to school for that too. And I've just been a witch and a magical person for as long as I can remember. My parents really named me Lilith, so that sort of started me out on a completely magical, delicious, delightful path. And I'm so glad to share some of that with you guys tonight. If anybody wants more information, feel free to contact me at my website, lilithdorsey.com, or email me at voodoouniverse@yahoo.com. Or you can find me on almost all social medias. I'm not with the TikTok yet, but maybe. But for now, you can find me on IG or Facebook or Twitter or anywhere else that you want to go looking for me. And tonight I'm going to talk about some things for you. I've been a psychic reader for a really long time too. I've been a psychic reader for over 40 years now professionally. And I'm going to show you some of these decks that I have here now. One of my favorite ones, which I think a lot of people really just sort of jumped out at them when they first saw it, was the Wild Unknown Tarot. And this one I really love too, the Sluttish Tarot. And my most recent all-time favorite is the Dust to Onyx Tarot by Courtney Alexander. And most often I think I probably read with the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot. But we're going to talk a little bit about tarot tonight, and I'm going to talk about a few ways to sort of cleanse and bless your cards. And then I'm going to give you 5 unique ways that you probably haven't thought of before. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is talk a little bit about some of the ways that you can cleanse and bless your cards. Obviously, there's lots of different things you can do. You can use crystals. I've got a very nice quartz point here that goes on my tarot altar. You can light a candle to sort of bless and cleanse the space. I also like to use incense to get ready. Here I have some ready-made powdered incense that I like to use when I'm setting up my cards and other things like that. If you want, you can also burn some sage or some Palo Santo, which is one of my favorite things to burn. The thing I love about Palo Santo is if it's meeting with a lot of negativity, what happens is the smoke that comes out of it will turn black. So I like to use that to go around my cards in a circle and then around my cards the other way. So that's very kind of just allows it to get oriented to the universe and the energies that are out there. And you don't have to just use crystals on your altar. You can use crystals actually in with your tarot cards. I highly recommend getting a tarot bag that helps protect them from whatever. It keeps them together. It keeps their energies safe and protected. And another way to sort of amplify that is by using crystals in conjunction with it. One thing that I really like to use is black tourmaline. Almost all black stones are very absorbing of negativity and any energy that your cards might have picked up by doing a reading for somebody else or by taking them out or traveling with them or something like that. And I really like to just put this in the bag with it. What else do I have in here? Let's see. Oh, here we go. I have one of these stones that's for protection against, can you see it? Protection against the evil eye. I like to keep that in with my cards too, because who wants their cards getting the evil eye? But we're going to talk about a few ways today that you can recharge your cards, cleanse your cards. Maybe you're out doing a reading for a bunch of customers or a bunch of friends, or maybe you've just been doing a lot of really intense personal readings for yourself because it's an intense time. So one of the things that I'd like to show you is something very simple that a lot of tarot practitioners do, and that's just knock 3 times on the cards. That's sort of like waking them up. I know a lot of people like to do this before they begin any reading. And there's a trick also that my priest Louis Martinet, who is one of the authors of this New Orleans Voodoo Tarot deck, showed me. And what he does is make an equal armed cross with the cards, and then he throws them gently into the air, just gently. You don't want your cards, this isn't 52, 78 pickup, it's not that kind of thing. But you just want them to go into the air briefly for a little tiny bit to allow them to go into the hands of the invisibles, to allow them to go into the space of the unknown. And by doing that, they can bring that knowledge back to you when you pick them up again and catch them and use them for your reading. So let's see, what else can you do? Something that a lot of people have told me that they like to do is reorder the cards, reorganize them, put them back, starting with the pips cards or the suits, the cups, the wands, the swords, the pentacles. So you start from the aces and you move forward and you reorder them so that they're all upright. You reorder them so that they're all in order, and then you go from 0, the Fool, up into 21, the World. So by putting them back in order before you shuffle, before you do whatever kind of cutting or mixing up that you want to do, this again allows them to reorient to their natural state, their natural resting state, and again dissipates any of that energy they might have picked up from other readings or from not having other readings. You know, cards can pick up energies just like people can pick up energies. And by doing these things to sort of creatively recharge them, I think it allows them to be renewed and have new energy. So putting them in order, that's a really good thing. Let's see, what else do I like to do? One of the things that I like to do is, obviously I have a tarot altar. I showed it to you before, but one of the things that I like to do is make a salt circle with the cards. Now for that, either you're going to do it on your tarot altar, or I have a very cool tray here. It's upside down. It says boo. I think it's very appropriate for the market. Oh wait, now it really says boo. Now it says upside down boo. Okay. And one of the things that you can do is do a salt circle. Now you can do this with sea salt. You can do it with pink salt, like I'm going to show you how to do today. Or you can just do it with regular black salt, which is very, again, absorbing of negativity. And you can get that at most magical shops and suppliers, or you can find it online. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make a circle, but you take a pinch in each hand, and what you're going to do is equally spread it around in a circle, and then you go back. So you're making with two hands, that's to symbolize one in the world of the visible and one into the world of the invisible. So again, your tarot cards is a divination system that's bridging these two worlds, that's allowing you to bring something from the beyond back into where we are, and to be able to use that knowledge in your day-to-day life. So by using your left and your right, which again are also representative of mundane and magical, you are bridging both worlds by doing the circle that way, to do it, you know, first from the top to the bottom and then from the bottom to the top. Again, you're making a geometric shape that allows for this magical space to open up and for information to be transmitted. It's easier if you do it on a tray, because then you don't have to clean it up off your altar, your table, or your floor, but you could do it on a cloth if you wanted to. And then what you do is you take the cards and you leave them in the center overnight. So the salt will draw any kind of unwanted energy into them. And then when you wake up in the morning, you can take the cards up, take the salt, dispose of it somewhere outside, away from your house. Try not to get it on your hands. Wash your hands afterwards, because that salt has picked up all the negative energy that the cards have had on them, all the confusion, all of the, sometimes, you know, like I said, I've been doing readings for a long time. Sometimes you do readings for really intense people. So by doing this, this allows the cards to sort of reset and begin again, just as you do. Now, the other thing, the last thing I'm going to leave you with tonight, because we have a very short time slot that we're dealing with here, but the last thing I'm going to leave you with is a tip. And I find this is something that I advise everybody to do when they want to get in better connection with their cards. It doesn't matter if you've been reading cards for a year or you've been reading cards for 30 or 40 years like I have. You need to take the cards, pick them up, and put them under your pillow when you sleep. Now, obviously, you don't want to sleep on a hard box. It's much easier if you have them in a bag. I sleep with two pillows, and I'm not a Princess and the Pea kind of person, so it doesn't bother me to have something underneath my bottom pillow when I'm sleeping. But that just allows the cards to sort of rest with you, to get in tune with you when you're in that sacred sleep space. And this is also really good. You don't even have to do it with all the cards. Obviously, you can if you want to. But sometimes if I'm having a particularly, you know, one card keeps coming up, this is something that happens a lot in readings. You have a recurring card, a recurring theme. Or if you're new and you're not really sure exactly what a card means, if you take it and put it under your pillow, that can help you understand it in a deeper way, because you're accessing it in your dream space, in that kind of sacred, divine access time where you're not dealing with all the other mundane things that happen during the day. So these are all my tips and tricks for creatively charging up your cards. I hope you enjoy them. I hope everybody comes and checks out my website, LilithDorsey.com. I hope you check out my blog, Voodoo Universe. I thought I was going to forget, so I put up my backdrop of the universe, so you can check me out. We're the largest voodoo blog in the world. There's a lot of posts on there about herbalism. There's posts about tarot. There's a lot of really great divination interviews out there. And you can just do a search for Voodoo Universe and I pop up. So I hope to see you there. I just wanted to offer something special for everyone who took part in the night market tonight. And, you know, I'm so happy about my new book, Orisha's Goddesses and Voodoo Queens. I want to offer anybody who wants to email me at voodoouniverse@yahoo.com a free sticker. I got a bunch of stickers. It's not easy promoting a book right now. So anybody who wants to email me and send me their mailing address, we got to support the post office. I am happy to send you a free sticker. I appreciate being part of this. And I just want to thank Amy and everybody else who made this possible. Thank you. Have a wonderful full moon and have a good night.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amy Wilson from Otherworldly Waxes. You can find us online at otherworldlywaxes.com, on Instagram at Otherworldly Waxes, and on Facebook at Otherworldly Waxes and whatever. We were located on East 7th Street between 1st and A. We were established in 1993 by Catherine Riggs Bergeson, and I was graced and blessed enough to inherit the shop from her. And I have been carrying it forward since and moved it to Beacon, New York. So we are located at the old Beacon High School at 211 Fishkill Avenue in classroom 309 in Beacon, New York. And we are open once a month, every third Saturday of the month, to the general public. I do take appointments, in-person appointments that have to be scheduled in advance. Most of my clientele I deal with privately. I am not generally open to the public. I do have very private clientele, so I do take private consultations and appointments as well as readings. My readings involve psychometry, energy, some tarot, and some tea. You can find my menu of the different types of readings and energy healings that I do offer on my website, otherworldlywaxes.com. So before I keep boring you with all my services, my specialty here at the shop is candle magic. And I make glitter candles, which I bless, adorn, and do, and they're all ritualized. I can't even say that today. So these are the candles that I make and that I sell online that you can look up. I have some on the shelf over here that I made that I keep on display at the shop. So what I'm going to do this evening is I'm just going to give you a little quick demo about what it is that I do. I'm not going to share all of my secrets, but I will share a little bit of my secrets. So we are going to make a candle for a client together, and I hope she's watching tonight. So it's extra charge with extra love, and we'll take it from there. Get the full view. So now what I'm going to do is create a candle for a client. So basically when clients order candles from me, they send me an email or attach a note to their order basically describing what it is their intent should be aimed for. So this particular client is looking to have a success candle made for her business to help her business prosper. So what I do is I create a candle for her with the intent and the focus on seeing her business prosper. Now, the thing with making positive candles, you still get the threefold law. So when you put out positivity to someone towards a particular intent, that you will also receive in return threefold. And you usually hear about karma, a threefold law, like things coming back to you in a negative impact. That's why for me it's very important to do positive magic and to project forward positive things onto other people and work with them with positive intent. I even suggest to a lot of my clients and even my students that if you give an enemy something positive to focus on, you can send them away instead of going at them in a negative way, which in turn will bring more negativity to you. So the next time you feel like doing a little bit of negative magic, feel free to send out some positive vibes to that person and see what happens in your life and see how you actually will flourish that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a glass. And I apologize in advance if my head gets cut off. It might be a positive thing for you. Anyway, I will pick out a particular color to work with. Since she's working in her business and wants to achieve success, I typically use orange because it's about communication, business, and transactions, which also represents the planet Mercury. I like to use 7-day candles. The pull-out candles, they're the most convenient and the easiest to work with for me. And I also wear an apron. It's my daddy-o patio barbecue apron. So I don't get too witchy. Those are people who know me very well, and I don't necessarily come off the way most witches do. So what I do is I prepare the glass. Now, a lot of the people who do candle magic, they prepare their candles beautifully, but sometimes they forget about the vessel that the candle will reside in during burning. I like to remove the labels. I use a razor because I can't seem to get the sticky stuff off ever. And even with a razor, I have a tendency not to do it very well. So I apologize in advance. So what I do is I clean the glass. I get the sticky label off, the UPC label off. Now, where I purchase my 7-day pull-out candles, I know the people who own the shop, they're really fantastic. But I still like to clear the glass and cleanse it of any possible negativity that may be attached to it. Because you just never know. Sometimes you get people in shops or places that just, maybe having a bad day and they're just throwing their weight around, and maybe they accidentally threw it on the case of candles that you ordered. So I typically use Florida water to clean out my glasses. I go inside and I make sure the glass is nice and clean, because this is the vessel that's going to support your magic. So you definitely want to have the negativity off. Sometimes if I feel a little intense, a little Florida water helps clear that aura off as well. So now that our glass is prepared and our candle is ready, we would do a grounding and centering before we actually started any of the actual working. So whatever your grounding and centering technique is, I always recommend to do that. Some people like to cast circles, set up protective barriers. I do my work at my shop, so I already have my space contained and sealed. So it just depends on the practitioner and how they actually go about doing their workings. So what I'm going to do is carve the candle. with the seal that I'm going to use. Now I'm giving a candle magic class that will actually get into a lot of the detail on how to carve your candles on September 19th. You can find that on my website as well. And you can register for the class, where I'll actually send you kits of a pull-out candle corresponding with the intent that you select, like health, success, love, I forgot what the other, money, that sort of thing. So I'll send the corresponding candle color as well as oil and incense to go with your candle. So since our client here is looking for success, I will create a success seal on her candle. I like to carve, which I've been made fun of a lot, a knitting needle. This is my consecrated knitting needle. I like it because it's metal, it's strong, it's sturdy, it carves into the wax really well and clearly, which I'll show you in a minute once I finish my seal. Some practitioners really like to carve in deeply. Some practitioners really like to lightly scratch the surface. You know, I've been asked a million times which is better. My opinion on it is whatever you feel drawn to do. If you feel like carving deep into your candle with a knife or an X-Acto knife or your Athame or whatever it is you choose to use, then do that. This just feels natural to me, probably because I sew and I knit and I do all these crafty things, so it just feels normal to me. So that's why I feel that the knitting needle is the best to work with for me. Some people do not, and you know, that's okay. That's your magic. And there is no rules set in stone, so to speak, in terms of how you carve your candles. So here, I hope you can see it, that the light's good. I carved my sigil or my seal into the candle for my client. And I'm just going to write her name on it, and I'm not sharing that with you, so I'm sorry. But if you want to send good vibes to her for her success, I greatly support that. So now that I have my candle carved, I like to prepare my glass. Now, offerings of honey are given to the candle, and the amount of pennies. Now, when I work with clients, we sit with the pennies, and I ask the client to focus on the pennies that they are using to make wishes on towards the intent. So if this client was actually here, I would give her 6 pennies because 6 represents success. And I would ask her to focus on what it is that she desires to happen within her business to make it more successful. It could be maybe bringing in more money, bringing in better employees, bringing in more foot traffic, whatever it is that she needs to have her business become successful for her. But since she's not here, I drop them in the glass for her. And when I send out my candles, I also send out a little instructions sheet of what to do with the candles. So when she receives the candle, she'll be able to sit and meditate with it and focus on the intent that she wants to bring in. Now, we have our candle carved, we have our glass prepared. Now we need our oil. So what I would do is I would pick success-focused oils and incense to go with her particular candle. Just step away for a hot second. So I am choosing Super Fast Luck Oil and Success Incense. Now I have a tendency to choose the incenses and the oils based upon the client's request. Now she's talking about needing to have her business pick up quickly to help support her and her family. She's trying to become more successful. So I chose Super Fast Luck to help push that trajectory to help her get to her goals much more quickly than maybe she would on a normal basis. And then I chose Success Incense to help bring in that success. So super fast luck to push forward that energy and bring in that clientele quickly, as well as make it successful. So maybe repeat clientele or whatever she is looking for, particularly to sustain. So when I do, I always shake my oils before I use them because sometimes the essentials will settle. I start from the middle of my candle and I move up. So as above, so below. And I make sure my candle's completely covered in oil, just every little bit. Sometimes depending upon the order or the client, I will pull out the wick and I will dress the wick too, maybe with a different oil. It just all depends upon what I feel the client may need at that time. Sometimes some clients will need a little more punch and some not so much, because that manifestation is going to happen quickly, and I trust my intuition when I do that. I have to trust what my guides come in and say to me about this particular order or this particular candle. Now, rubbing alcohol is your friend. So if you have extra oil on your hand, always use a little bit of rubbing alcohol. It does dry out your hands. I mean, I think we all pretty much know that as of lately. But it cuts through any sort of oil dressing or conditioned oils or whatever you may call them. So if your hands get too oily. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to glitter the candles, or the candle I should say. So I like to use extra fine glitter. Some people like a little bigger coarse glitter, not my jam, but to each his own. There is no judgment at all on what kind of glitter you use. I like to use colors corresponding with our goals. Since we're working on success in business, we would use green to attract, because green is associated with the planet Venus and our heart chakra. So we would use some green. I like to mix turquoise in there. It's one of my favorites. Blue for Jupiter, for expansion, success, expansion. Obviously orange, we have the candle. I should have had this set up beforehand so you can see how tedious this can be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my glitter, and I'm going to set up everything, and then I'm going to do a little bit of glittering, but I'm not going to make you sit through the entire process. I'm actually going to speed it up so you don't fall asleep watching this video. Hopefully you don't. Now that we've finished, so I stick my hand in the glitter. This is our finished candle. Now it's still slippery and has oil on it as well. I mean, you saw the process sped up. So, but basically when I create a candle for a client, everything is very specific to what they need and their intent. And it's, for me as a practitioner of the magical arts, it's very important that each client is catered to. I mean, you can have your generic candles, that you buy off the shelf and burn them, and I'm not saying that they don't work, but when you have somebody putting a little extra charge on it, I find that they're more effective. And a lot of the practitioners that I work with, through Moon, Serpent, and Bone, and now the virtual Full Moon Magical Market, are genuine practitioners that I fully support. So obviously, like if you order a candle from me, you'll get it specialized just for you. And I'm sure if you order any of the products or services from anybody who is participating in this event, you will also get fantastic service from them as well. Now, after I've ordained and decorated my candle, adorned, ordained, or whatever, my candle, I ritualize it and I add my incense and I pray, charge, whatever terminology you choose to use when you do your practices, the actual candle. So I do the whole ritual, which very few have seen, and I'm not showing here, so I'm sorry. If you come in person, you'll be able to see it. But then I pack it up. I fill out the instructions for my clients. I attach them to the actual glass themselves. So when the client receives the candle, they know how to use it and what to focus on. And I also include the oils and the incense that I use, as well as any other specialty items, such like if it's an uncrossing candle, I might include holy water, protection, I might include a Cardea. It all depends upon what my intuition, what my guides are chiming in and telling me that is important to do to include into the ritual itself. So I will ritualize it and I will show you in the glass. We are officially done. It's been charged, it's been mojoed, all the goodness has been put inside, ready for the client. So I'll just fill out the form and ship it out. If you have any questions or interest in participating in my virtual online candle class, please again visit our website, www.otherworldlywaxes.com, and you'll find all the information located on the events and classes page. Or you can email me directly, Amy Wilson, at otherworldlywaxes@gmail.com. You'll find all my links, all my social media links, everything on my presenters page. So feel free to reach out, follow, like, support, and please support all the vendors that are participating in tonight's market, as well as the readers and the presenters. And again, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care.